Matthew Lolty Hepworth with Steinberg North America, and I'm here to show you some of the new features of the brand new Cubase 6. Cubase 6, for the first time, is available as a 64-bit app on the Macintosh platform. So now all of that extra RAM that you have installed in your computer, you can now go well above the 3.5 gig memory limit. So it is 64-bit on the Macintosh as well as the PC. One of the first things that they have added in the new version of Cubase 6, is a brand new hit point detection, which allows for the very, very fast and easy quantization of live audio, live multi-track audio. So for example, I did this a little bit ahead of time. These drums were extremely out of time, but by using the new hit point detection and the new audio quantization features, I've taken those audio tracks and actually got them in time. They were woefully out of time before, which was a little hard to ask our drummer to play very, very poorly and then have to go in and fix his audio tracks. But that's something that happens in recording studios with multi-track audio a lot. And another wonderful feature that we've done is a new audio detection on audio tracks themselves. So I'm going to select this track of audio and I'm going to go under the project pull-down menu and select tempo detection. With tempo detection, we can analyze that track of audio. It will automatically make a tempo map. And using that tempo map, let me zoom in here a little bit. Using that tempo map, it will go in and figure out the tempo of that audio track, and then we can use that to either quantize MIDI tracks to the live drum part, or we can also quantize that audio track so that it becomes more of a linear time base and a much tighter time base instead of relying on the tempo that the drummer originally played them at. And that's a feature that people have been waiting for in Cubase 6. It's finally here. It's finally done the right way. Multi-track drum or multi-track audio time correction. Another thing that we've added is the brand new VST amplifier rack. And Steinberg in Cubase has had amplifier emulation technology, but it didn't look very, it just didn't look like amplifiers. It sounded good, but it just didn't look right. So what they've done now is they've actually made modeling technology built in that uses an interface that guitar players really understand. So here's our VST Amp Rack. We have the pre-effects, which would be things like compressors or other things in line before you plug into the amplifier, and adding them is just as easy as clicking on them and putting them in. Changing the order is very, very easy. Then you move from that right into the amplifiers window. There are 8 different amplifiers currently, including the Plexi emulation, Blackface, the British Custom, and when you select one of those emulations, it will give you an idea of what sort of amplifier you've got plugged in. And then you plug your amplifier into one of the built-in cabinets, which you can choose any cabinet that you want to, so you can put any top on top of any cabinet. And then out of that, you can run into your post effects, which would be things like reverbs and delays. And then this is a really great feature. You can change not only what style of microphone you're putting in front of that virtual amplifier, but you can also change where that microphone is placed. So if we wanted the condenser microphone dead center, we can choose that microphone to be dead center. Or we could move it off axis or further away off or on axis. Or we could choose a dynamic microphone and do the same microphone placements, but using the mix control lets us actually balance the sound of both the dynamic and the condenser microphone to balance out exactly how much sound we want from each of the microphones in front of our virtual guitar cabinet. So the VST Amp Rack is a brand new feature, really, really sounds good, and it's extremely easy to understand for a guitar player who wants to use virtual technology instead of relying on real guitar amplifiers and so forth. One of the other new features is a new specification that's been added to the VST3 plugin specification, which is going to be available to all of the different manufacturers. We make that specification free. What people are running into is that the MIDI specification has been around for almost 30 years now. It really hasn't changed that much. And because virtual synthesizers are really starting to become the standard with which people use computers and DAW technology, we're starting to really run up against the limitations of MIDI itself. For example, being able to take a note and in a chord, for example, and change the volume or the pitch or the scoop, if you will, of one particular note. With Node Expression, this new Node Expression is part of the new VST3 specification, and we have one plugin shipping with Cubase 6 that is Node Expression sensitive. It is the new Sonic SE, which is right here. It's the special edition version of Sonic, our big synthesizer workstation. So Sonic SE ships with Cubase 6, has a lot of great features, but one of the biggest features is that it is Node Expression capable. So using Node Expression, you can take a MIDI track and you can go in and draw in the tune, for example, of any of those notes. You could, let's see, must not have that track activated, but you can go through, like in a normal MIDI track, you can't change the pitch of one particular note. If you add pitch bend to the track, it's going to shift all of the notes in pitch. Using VST Node Expression, you can go in and change the pitch of one note or the scoop or any of the nuances of a MIDI note. And that Sonic SE is the first plugin that uses VST Node Expression. Let me show you another thing that's really neat about VST Node Expression. I'm going to take this audio track and I'm just going to solo it so that we can hear it. This is just an analog audio recording. And what we can do, I mean, there are several programs, including the previous versions of Cubase 6, that can take the audio and we can extract the MIDI from a monophonic audio track and make a MIDI track out of it. But if I use the old method of just crunching out a new MIDI track from that, let me assign it to a synthesizer. If we listen to this audio now, it's going to be not a really good representation of that original saxophone track. So with VST Expression, instead, we can take that audio track and we can extract using Note Expression volume curve controller, and what that will do when we assign that track to a VST Note Expression capable instrument, we now get a much more believable. Let me change the volume of that just a little bit. You can see that that volume is getting changed around as the instrument plays, so I'm going to need to turn up the volume a little bit here for you. So a lot of those expressions now are extracted from the audio and put into the MIDI track, and when they're played back through a synthesizer that is sensitive to the VST Node Expression, you actually get that nuance out of the original audio track, but now it becomes part of MIDI. Also, some of the things that we have introduced, very exciting new plugins from Rupert Neve. This is the first time that Rupert Neve has allowed his name to be used on a plugin. Essentially, Rupert Neve was the father of the modern mixing console. He doesn't allow anyone to use his name on, he doesn't, somebody else actually owns his name, but he himself personally has never endorsed an audio product. And now Rupert Neve Designs has released 2 plugins that are distributed exclusively by Steinberg that actually have his name on the plugin now. We just had a press release with Mr. Neve, and it was a really exciting thing to see a very distinguished gentleman, highly regarded in his audio field, get really excited about a software plugin that actually has his name on it. It was really an exciting thing to see. So those are some of the new features in Cubase 6. Again, I'm Matt Hepworth of Steinberg, and I hope you have a great NAMM show. Thanks for watching.